Parashuram's appearance day. Lord Parashurama is one of the incarnation of the Lord, and it's interesting that we are going to discuss about Lord Parashuram's story today. So we are talking about the Moon Dynasty, and we are going to discuss about stories of Pururava and Parashurama. So in this dynasty of the moon, so where did the moon god come from? So Brahma, he receives the knowledge of how to create the material universe, and then he creates the universe, and then he has many sons or Manasa Putras who are born from his mind, and Atri Rishi is one of them. Now, Atri Rishi married Anasuya, and Atri and Anasuya's son is Soma. So Soma is also known as the moon god. So Soma is actually a partial incarnation of Brahma, and Atri and Anasuya actually had three kids, and actually all three of them are the portions of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Dattatreya is considered to be the portion of Vishnu, and Durvasa Rishi is the um, is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So we see the Trimurtis actually were born in the family of Atri and Anasuya. Now we're going to discuss about Soma and how the generations of the Soma dynasty, who are the prominent kings, and who about their stories. All right. So the story goes like this. So Soma was really liking a girl, Tara, but Tara got married to Deva Rishi Brahaspati. And Brahaspati, so Soma came, and Soma, because Soma is the sun, is the moon god, he's the one that nourishes the trees, because the trees get water and other nutrients during the night, and then they do photosynthesis during the day from the sun. But it's when the night when they replenish themselves, and it is said that the moon god is responsible for all the vegetation in the world, and we know it is because of the plants and trees in the world that we are able to exist. Otherwise, if there was nothing that would trap the energy of the sun and create food, we wouldn't be here on this planet. So this the moon god became very powerful and a little proud of himself. So everybody knew the importance of the moon being, the guardian of the trees and vegetation. He started ruling over the three worlds, and then he even became a little arrogant, where he was really liking Tara, the wife of Brahaspati, his own guru, and he kidnapped her and took her away from his guru. And Brahaspati was asking asking Soma to return Tara, but he was not doing that. And then there was a big war where Brahaspati was helped by Lord Shiva and other demigods, and then uh, Soma was helped by Shukracharya, because Shukracharya is the guru of the Asuras. So he and Brahaspati, they have like a rivalry going on, because they are the guru of two different parties. And so when it was against Brahaspati, Shukracharya joined Soma, and there was big fighting. And then Brahma comes and says, "Oh, enough with all this fighting." And Brahma goes and talks to Soma and says, "What you're doing is not right. You got to return the wife of Brahaspati." And then and then Brahma was instrumental in getting Tara back to Brihaspati. And Brihaspati finds that Tara is pregnant. And then Tara was very afraid of Brihaspati and that he would be very angry but he said, no, we're going to give birth to the son. And the beautiful son, very attractive and very intelligent son who came out, his name was known as Buddha. So Brihaspati claimed that it is his son, and Soma, the moon god, said it is his son. Since both were fighting that it's their son, the right person to ask who the father is from Tara herself. And the child was also asking, who is my father? And then Tara did not reveal it, fearing that everybody, like Brihaspati, would be very angry. And then Lord Brahma approached her, took her to the side, and asked her who the father is, and he found out it is none other than the moon god. So the moon god Soma claimed the son's Buddha, who is very beautiful, and that's how the dynasty of moon gods starts. So this in this generation of Buddha married another a lady known as Ila, and if you remember, we were discussing about Ila in the previous class in the dynasty. So there was a girl Ila born, but then the king wanted a son, so there was a big yagya done, and then the daughter became a son, Sudyumna, and then he went to the forest, and in the forest of Sukumara, because of nobody can be a male there, he became a female again. So that's the whole story of Ila we discussed in previous class. So Ila is the wife of Buddha, but then Ila, after she had kids, she was turned back to a male. So you see, many transgender and all that is recently happening, but all this different male to female changes are all already there in the Puranas, and it was happening before as well. Um, so anyway, let's come back to the story. So Buddha and Ila um, got married, and the generation uh, um, of the Moon Dynasty passed on, and this this person who was born from um, Ila of Buddha is known as Pururava, and he is very beautiful and very attractive, and everybody was praising him as a great person with a lot of intelligence and attractiveness and very handsome. And his praises were described in in the heavenly planets by Narada Muni, and Urvashi is a Gandharvika lady who performs beautiful dances and is very attractive. All the heavenly damsels are much more attractive and beautiful than the earthly persons, earthly ladies. So, but this Pururava was very handsome himself. Even though he was a human, he was very beautiful, and his glories, when Urvashi heard it, she was attracted to him. And due to a curse by two demigods, Urvashi had to come down to the earthly planet, and as soon as um, Pururava saw Urvashi, he was very attracted to her and wanted to get married to her. But Urvashi said, yes, I will marry you, but under a few conditions. So I have two lambs with me. So these are the two beautiful lambs that Urvashi is taking care of as her own children. And he said, you should always protect my two lambs. And then I eat only food made in ghee, the clarified butter. So I always need food made of ghee, and you have to protect my lambs. And then I should never see you without clothes. So these are attributes of the heavenly planets. Today everybody wants to show their body a lot, but in the heavenly planets they don't do that. And in so the so Urvashi's demands were like when she lives on Earth, she wanted like nice food, which is made from nice ghee all the time, and also this proposal of always being clothed. Um, so Pururava accepted it and got married to Urvashi, and they were living happily. And at that point, Indra, who's in the heavenly planets, was missing Urvashi. Urvashi was the light of the party there. And when she was not there, Indra was feeling bored. So he asked the Gandharvas to somehow bring back Urvashi. So what the Gandharvas did, they went and took away these two lambs, and Pururava was sleeping on the bed. And Urvashi came and said, "Where are my lambs? You said you'll protect them, but it looks like you're not very competent." And she was using sharp words, and Pururava, even without dressing himself up, ran to get the lamps, and he got and the Gandharva, seeing him come, left the lamps and ran away. He got the lambs and came back, and Urvashi was happy to get the lamb, but then she saw that he wasn't clothed. So she told him, oh, sorry, now I can't stay with you because you broke one of the promises you made. So she left, and yeah, and Pururava was very sad because he was so attached to Urvashi, and so he was even willing to give up his body. And one day he saw her in Kurukshetra, and and Pururava said, "Oh, please, I cannot live without you. You have to come back." And Urvashi said, "Oh, you are so attached to me. Don't put your faith in me because, I'm a heavenly damsel, and I can have more partners, but I cannot be with you all the time." But then somehow Pururava convinced her to come stay with him at least one day in a year. And then Urvashi agreed, and by them coming together, they had 6 kids. But he was still very sad, um, because he wasn't able to have her continuously with him. So she said, "Okay, why don't you pray to the Gandharvas?" And then he prayed to the Gandharvas, and he got a person who looked exactly like Urvashi. Her name was Agnistali. But then when he saw her, he understood it's not Urvashi, and he abandoned her. And he did another yagya where he wanted to be with Urvashi more. And then somehow he was able to go to the Gandharva planets and be with her. So that's where the story ends. But in the future canto, we come to know that um, Pururava, even though he was living with Urvashi, that was his life's goal. He was not happy. So that's what we will understand. Like, we have material goals in life. We are too attracted to a person. We focus on that all our life. And then ultimately, when we get that, we are not very happy, because our soul can be happy only if we have love for God. So everything else is a zero. Only when we bring Krishna prema or love for God, which is the one, it'll have value. So if even if you have 10 zeros together, it's a zero. But if you put one in the beginning, if you put Krishna in the beginning, then everything will get value. So finally, Pururava understood that he has been wasting his life just pursuing Urvashi, but he should just focus on the Supreme Lord, because that's what the soul is actually searching for. We are mistakenly going to all other places to find happiness. So he understood that, and then he purified his life and went back home, back to Godhead. So that comes in the 11th canto, but it's just we're just leaving the story there, and we are talking about the descendants of the Moon Dynasty. So we talked about Pururava and Urvashi, and then their six kids, and then they had the many generations of Vijaya. One of the kids is there was Bhima and then Gadi. Gadi is the next prominent king in this line of the Moon Dynasty. And Gadi had a beautiful daughter, Satyavati. Now, there was a Muni or a sage who was a Brahmin and he was living a very austere life. So he didn't have a big house or a vehicle or any riches in the bank or any of that. So when he approached Gadi, he asked him, "Can I marry your daughter?" And Gadi was not happy with the proposal because this is a Brahmana and he is a Kshatriya, the warrior community, and he's a person who who's a um, ruling the society and ruling the kingdom, and this is a person who is who has no riches, but he's close to God. He's a Brahmin. He knows the Vedas and etc. So he wanted to somehow stop um, Richika, the sage, from marrying his daughter. So he came up with a plan. He didn't want to tell a straight no because the Brahmins are very powerful. Though they don't have money, they know the Vedas and they can just utter a curse or anything and it'll happen. So he was afraid of the Brahmin. But he didn't want to say no straight away, though he really never wanted his daughter to marry this this Richika saint. So what he said was, if you can bring me 1,000 horses with a black ear, so each of the horse should be a pure white horse with a one ear that is black. So he thought that is impossible to get because it's very difficult to find a white horse. And then over that, finding a white was horse with just one ear that's colored black is going to be difficult. And he wanted 1,000 of those. So he thought, oh, this person, when he's going to find this for me, by that time, he will not be able to find, and I'll marry my daughter to some other king. But Richika is a saintly person, and he is close to the demigod. So he prayed to Varuna, and Varuna gave him 1,000 horses with one black ear, and he gave it to Gadi, and Gadi had to marry Satyavati to Richika. So that's how Richika and Satyavati got married. So you can see here, it is not about how much you own or um, uh, how many opulence you have. It's about who you know, correct? Like Richika, he had a good relationship with anybody who can provide him anything. So that's why, it's all about not how much you know, it's about who you know. So Richika was able to get this to Gati, and then Gati married his daughter to Richika. And now, since Richika was very powerful in terms of having the nice mantras to do bring any wish come true, his wife Satyavati wanted a son. And so did his mother-in-law. So this Gadi's wife did not have a son, um, and so she also wanted a son. So this Richika being very powerful, he was able to do a sacrifice, and he made the oblation. So this is the offering to the god, and what comes out of it, he prayed on each portion and gave one portion to Satyavati and one to his mother-in-law and said, you can have this portion and then you will get a son. Now, the mother-in-law thought this person might have given a better son to my daughter. This ovulation probably had more powers in the one that he gave to his own wife. He thought, oh, she thought maybe, since it is his son, he might want a better son. So what she did, she convinced her daughter Satyavati to exchange the offerings. So when they exchanged the offerings and had it, when Richika came to know, he said, "Oh, you have done something wrong. Actually, the one that I gave the oblation to my wife, it was supposed to be a Brahmin child who would be focusing on the scriptures, who's be focusing on how to do puja and all those things. And the other person that I gave to my mother-in-law, because they're coming from a kingly family or the Kshatriya family, the son was supposed to be a Kshatriya who would be a great warrior who can take care and protect all the society. So that is the quality I had put into that portion. And now that you have exchanged, oh wife, now Satyavati, you're going to have a warrior son. And Satyavati was so sad that she did that by her mother's request. And she said, "Oh, husband, Richika, please forgive me. I shouldn't have done this. As I am your wife, I am a Brahmin's wife. I want a Brahmin child. I don't want a warrior son. Please do something to help me." And then Richika said, "Okay. Um, I cannot prevent it from happening, but I can prolong it. So your son will be a Brahmin, but your son's son would be a warrior Kshatriya." So that's what happened. And actually, Jamadagni is the person who was the Brahmin son born to Satyavati. And then Vishwamitra was the son born to Gadi's wife. So Satyavati's brother became Vishwamitra based on these portions that they had. And Vishwamitra, we know, was a great saint and great sage. So that's how he was born. And then Jamadagni was again a Brahmin because he had given the benediction that only the son's son would become a warrior. So Jamadagni then married a person known as Renuka, and Jamadagni and Renuka's son is Lord Parashuram. And Lord Parashuram, though he's born in a Brahmin family, we know he's a warrior incarnation of the Lord. Parashu means axe. And so Parashuram is the war incarnate or axe incarnation. His his own whole mission of coming to the world is to destroy the bad kings and the many ruling people who became corrupt and bad. So Parashuram want to cleanse and remove all these bad kings. So that was the mission of Parashuram. And we can understand this from another story about Kartavirya Arjun. So Kartavirya Arjun was a very powerful warrior. As you can see, he had 1,000 arms, and he was a devotee of Dattatreya. And with his 1,000 arms, he could do anything. He even stopped the water of the Narmada River, and Ravana was not happy with the water stopping there, so he came and he fought with Kartavirya Arjun, and Kartavirya Arjun was able to arrest and make him a prisoner, make Ravana a prisoner. So this just to show how powerful this Kartavirya Arjun is. One day, Kartavirya Arjun was hunting in the forest, and he came to Jamadagni's house. So Jamadagni is Parashuram's father, and Jamadagni gave nice preparations to Kartavirya Arjun being a guest, and all his warriors and followers who had come, the part of his army that had come into the forest, all of them were fed really nice. And Kartavirya Arjun couldn't understand. Like if a guest come to my house, I have to prepare for many days, and I have to understand who is coming, get the number, who all RSVP'd. All that needs to be done before we can plan a big event where we can feed a lot of people. But this Arjun found that Jamadagni is able to easily give nice food, that too very high quality food to all my people who came into the forest. How is that possible? So Kartavirya Arjun went and asked Jamadagni, "How did you do this? You really, took care of all of us so nicely." And then Jamadagni said, "I have a cow, Kamadhenu, that gives me as much food as I want, and this is what allowed me to serve you well." And then Kartavirya Arjun um, was sinful. He thought, "Oh, why should this sage have it? With this cow, I can. The king needs to have it." So he said, "I'm going to take this cow." And Jamadagni said, "Sorry, cow, this cow is an auspicious cow and it has to be taken care by me." But he forcibly took it away. So even though he was treated really well, you see how people are very jealous and they tend to hurt others just because they are lusty for something that they want. So Kartavirya Arjun took the cow and went away, and and at that time Parashuram was not at home. So when he came back and he heard the story, he got very angry, and he went and fought with Kartavirya Arjun. And Kartavirya Arjun had 10,000 sons, and all of them ran away because Parashuram was very powerful. And as you can see in the picture, Parashuram um, fought with Kartavirya Arjun, cut off his 1,000 hands, and then finally slayed him as well. And then he came back and told his father that, "Father, I have given that Kartavirya Arjun what he deserves." Um, and then his father Jamadagni said, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that, because Parashuram has the thought process or consciousness of a Kshatriya. So he's always in the fighting spirit. But his father is a Brahmin, so he's thinking you should be like a Brahmin. You should always be forgiving, and you shouldn't be taking revenge like a Kshatriya would." But based on the what happened with the portions, this is why Parashuram is, though he was born a Brahmin, he was acting like a Kshatriya. So this from this episode, we can understand that it's not by birth a person becomes a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or the different strata of society. It is by your character and what you do. And earlier in those times, mostly people were able to be exactly where they were born because they're born and raised with all those values. But if a person is not following the values taught, he's considered more of his what he acts or works on. So here we see that Parshuram, though he was born a Brahmin, he's acting like a Kshatriya, and he's learning about how to forgive from his dad. But then I know the Lord was born with a mission to kill all these evil personnels, evil rulers, etc. So then what happened was, one day, um, um, so Parashuram's wife, Renuka, while she was bringing water, she was late to come home because she was seeing a Gandharva having a good time with his friends. So he was attractively looking at him, and she was late. And then Jamadagni understood with his Brahminical powers that she was not faithful to him, and when he was very angry, and he told his other sons, "Oh, you should kill your mom right now because she's not focused on me. She's looking at a Gandharva." And none of the other sons did that. But Parashuram, because he is a very um, good follower of his dad, he did what his dad asked. And again, um, and then what happened was his dad Jamadagni said, "Oh, what wish do you want? Because you followed what I said." He said, "Bring my mother back to life and my brothers back to life that you asked me to kill, and they should forget that I was the one who hurt them." So his father was very happy with the intelligence of Parshuram, that he not only loved his mother and brothers, he also took the instructions of his dad, and then in the end got them all back. So we can see that Parashuram is not averse to violence, because that is the incarnation to kill all the bad people. And so what happened was Kartavirya Arjun's family, his sons, 10,000 sons came when Parashuram was in there, and they killed Jamadagni because their father was killed by Parashuram. And then Parashuram, to avenge that, went and went to Mahishmati and killed Kartavirya Arjun's sons, and actually 21 generations of bad kings were killed by Parashuram, and that was the mission of the incarnation. So, so here we can see that Parashuram and then he came back and he revived his father Jamadagni. Um, so anything is possible for the Lord, and with his when he comes to the world, he can get rid of bad people and take care of the good people. So here we can see the family chart of Gati having his daughter Satyavati, and then Vishwamitra was born. Vishwamitra had 101 sons. And so we discussed about Satyavati, Jamadagni, and Parashuram. The other son we didn't discuss about was Vishwamitra, who was born in the Kshatriya family but had Brahmanical um, qualities. He had 101 sons, and we discussed in a previous class about Sunashepa, who was brought to offer to Varuna, and then they didn't have to sacrifice him or anything. So this is a connection to the Sun Dynasty story. How remember was the person who was to be offered by Harichandra, and then Rohita bought another person, Sunashepa, and but Vishwamitra accepted Sunashepa as his eldest son, adopted son, and so that's how these stories are connected. So, so this is actually about the dynasties of the moon god. Okay, now Vistiji is raising her hand. So do you want to type your question, because
No, I worked it out.
Very good.
So basically, Vishwamitra had 101 sons with Sunashepa, or
Oh no,
Sunashepa is different.
Sunashepa is not a girl. Sunashepa is a man who
Yeah,
he adopted as a son.
yeah, because Rohita
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
did the
Oh,
switching thing.
um, uh,
So he totally has 102.
two sons now after the adoption. Very good. Nice, nice connecting the stories and remembering. Very good job, Vistiti. So, um, so then Pururava and Urvashi's six sons, and then we talked about Gadi and Satyavati, And then, like one of the other sons dynasty, Ayu's son is Nahusha. So there are some small stories about Nahusha as well. Nahusha became, yeah, took the post of Indra when Indra um, was bearing the karma of all his bad actions. Like he killed a devotee known as Vritrasura, and he was hiding inside a lotus stem. We had discussed this in previous cantos. And while he was uh, like doing his penance inside to atone for the sins he did, another person took over, and that is Ayu's son Nahusha. But Nahusha became very proud, and he was cursed to become a python. Um, because what is said was, he even after he became Indra for some time, he wanted to marry Indra's wife, and Indra's wife said, oh, I can't do that, but if you really have to, you have to come in a palanquin carried by all the sages. So while he was bringing, he was already very proud of becoming Indra, and then he was offending all these great sages also by making them carry him, and they cursed him to become a snake. So Nahusha is one of that. Then there's another descendant, Shatra Vridha. Shatravidha's son is Dhanvantri. And Dhanvantri, we know, is one of the incarnation of the Lord, and he is the first doctor, or the father of medicine. So Dhanvantri actually is the one who started getting all the different herbs, and so Ayurveda, the father of Ayurveda is Dhanvantri. So that's one important aspect in this dynasty. Another person in this dynasty is Raji, and the few aspects mentioned is Raji helped Indra regain his kingdom, and then from the Asuras, and Indra made Raji rule the heavenly planets because he is afraid of the powers of the Asuras at that time. But then um, Raji's sons, once Raji left his body, his sons wanted to take over, and Indra had to do a penance to get back the kingdom. So that's some small stories in this dynasty, which concludes our class for today. And now we can go to the Kahoot. Um, so let me start the Kahoot. So the game pin is 3609348. So you can either scan this QR code or put this pin in.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Great. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, very good. So let's start. Who were the parents of the moon god Soma? Kardama, Devahuti, Atri, Anusuya, Krishna, Rukmini, Arjuna, Subhadra. So we talked about Atri and Anasuya were the ones who had three kids, Durvasa, Soma, and Dattatreya. Yeah, it's difficult to keep all this in your mind. So that's why, when you play it, you might get pointers to keep. Who were the parents of Pururava? Budha&Ila, Soma&Tara, Atri Anasuya, Kardama Devahuti. Yes. So Soma and Tara's son is Buddha, and Buddha and Ila got married, and their son is Pururava. So just one generation lower than this one. Oh,
I'm the only one playing.
yes.
Oh, oh.
Okay. Whose wife was Tara? Indra, Brahaspati, Soma, Surya. Actually, Soma, or the moon. Okay. What was the three conditions that Urvashi had if she had to marry Pururava? Protect her two lambs. All of the above. You got that right. Excellent. Okay. Who wanted Urvashi back in the heavenly planets and asked Gandharva to get her back? Soma, Surya, Indra, Brahma. So who was missing the dance of? Yeah, it's actually Indra.
I was actually gonna click that, but
Yeah, that's okay. That's how you learn. Pururava found happiness after living with Urvashi in the Gandharva planet. So, yeah, so he pursued Urvashi all his life, but then once he started living, he found that, why did I waste my whole life just focusing on this? You have to have a spouse and family, etc., but then only focusing on that is not right. You have to focus on God and other important things as well. Okay, who was the wife and father-in-law of sage Richika? So, who's the wife Urvashi and Pururava, Ila, Vaivasvata, Devahuti, Swayambhu Manu, Satyavati, and Gati. Yes, so Satyavati is Richika's wife, and Gadi is his father-in-law. That's a tough one. Too many names. Okay, how did Gadi try to refuse Richika from marrying his daughter Satyavati? Ask Richika to get Satyavati's permission. Ask Richika to find a Brahmin girl. 1,000 horses with one black ear. Very good, Narishtiji. Excellent job. Okay. Why did Satyavati and her mother, Gadi's wife, exchange the oblations? Satyavati's mother thought her daughter would get the better portion. Satyavati wanted to have fun with an exchange. Satyavati wanted a Kshatriya son. Yes, you are right. She thought her daughter would get the better son. So she exchanged it. How did Richika pacify his wife Satyavati when she did not want a Kshatriya son? Her son would be a Brahmin, only her grandson would be a Kshatriya. All of the above, none of the above. Yes, you got that right. Oh, the grandson was Parashuram. Okay, now Vistiji is on fire. Uh, who were the parents of Lord Parashuram? Devaki and Vasudev, Nanda and Yashoda, Jamadagni and Renuka. Very good. You did it before I even finished reading. Excellent job. So you've learned more about the Lord's warrior incarnation, Parashuramji. Who killed Kartavirya Arjun for stealing the Kamadhenu cow of Jamadagni? Lord Parashuram, Bhima, Arjuna, Ravana. Lord Parashuram. Very good. Kartaviri Arjun had won 10,000 sons. True or false? True. Very good. 14. Vishwamitra was the son of Gadi, Soma, Pururava, Jamadagni. So you have to think about that family tree. Yes, the correct is Gadi. So you're right that he's coming in the Soma or the Moon dynasty, but his father is Gadi because Gadi's wife was the one who exchanged the oblation from her daughter Satyavati. So the father's name is Gadi. Okay, last question for today. Vishwamitra adopted Sunashepa and asked his one-on-one sons to treat him as an elder brother. True or false? True. Excellent job, Navishti ji. So actually, first, second, and third is all you, Navishti ji. You spend your time to learn about the wonderful incarnation of the Lord and Srimad Bhagavatam. So you'll get all the wonderful benefits of joining today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. See you next week.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kल्पतरुभश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः